Nitish Kumar does not have time for Sonia Gandhi's lunch meet on the presidential polls, but he will be meeting Prime Minister Narendra Modi tomorrow at 1 p.m. This is real politicking. Have the friends turned foes found common grounds? That's our top political story this evening. Also on the show, the anxious wait for 11 lakh CBSE students finally ending. Their results will be out anytime. The question is, why did the HRD ministry not learn lessons of the NEET mess? That's our second question. Hello everyone, the Epicentre begins right now. Nitish Kumar snubs Sonia Gandhi, skips the big opposition meet, but will go to meet the Prime Minister tomorrow. Is a political realignment on the cards? CBSE likely to announce result dates this evening. Won't appeal against the High Court order on moderation policy on advice of the Additional Solicitor General. But is it time for one nation, one marking? On his government's third anniversary, Prime Minister Modi inaugurates India's longest bridge, the 9-kilometer-long Dhola Sadia Bridge, with an eye to win over the Northeast. This is clearly the biggest political story of the day, one that can and has created a massive political earthquake. On the day that Prime Minister Narendra Modi completes 3 years in office, has the BJP managed a political coup? The Bihar Chief Minister is set to meet Prime Minister Narendra Modi tomorrow. The meeting will happen a day after Nitish Kumar skipped the big opposition meet called by Congress President Sonia Gandhi. Is the Modi-Nitish bonhomie back on track? The same bonhomie that we saw in January this year. You can see that on your television screens, where the two leaders has been a series of such events. Chief Minister Nitish Kumar gives an unequivocal support to the GST bill. He is also someone who backs the government and the Prime Minister on the Uri attacks. He is someone who says that demonetization is a good move. Why is he emerging as an exception?
See, if you trace the history of JDU, we have always backed those moves which are in the interest of the nation. As far as GST goes, we were with NDA, but when the UPA brought it, we were the first party who wholeheartedly support the GST way back in 2007. Now coming up to Uri attack, I'll also like to recall you that when Mumbai bomb blast happened and the Mumbai terror attack happened in 2009, we were with NDA, but we backed the UPA government to the hilt. Next, as far as demonetization goes, we were the first party to support the demonetization, and it was claimed to be anti-corruption move. So in the process of national interest, we don't care for politics. We support everything by which is done in the case of national interest. Now, as far as the speculation politics which is doling around and which is going around and doing the rounds, that extending a normal courtesy and to greet a visitor, if the Prime Minister is visiting our state, to give him a warm welcome, is that a crime?
No, sir, but the timing of this normal courtesy
also accords when the Chief Minister visits him.
The Chief Minister could have travelled to Delhi today. The Chief Minister could have travelled to Delhi and attended that lunch meet that has been called by Sonia Gandhi. Okay.
See, now,
okay, Ajay Alok,
Marya,
if we were...
one thing I'd like to say.
Okay.
I would like to recall you also one thing, that this Grand Alliance meeting which is happening today of all the non-BJP parties, please don't forget it that Nitish Kumar is the chief architect behind it. He was the brain behind it who moved the idea.
Yes, that is what I want to know.
2014 Lok Sabha elections.
That's exactly my point.
That's exactly my point. For the last 2.5 years, 3 years, to cobble this kind of an alliance.
Absolutely. Do you think, Ajay Alok...
And he has met Sonia Gandhi way back on 20th April.
Absolutely. Do you think now, shouldn't we be reading this, that this is also a message that Bihar Chief Minister is sending, that if there has to be an alliance of non-NDA parties in the run-up to 2019, he should be the face of it, not the Congress President Sonia Gandhi?
Now, this is another interesting speculation, what you bring in between. This is another interesting speculation. Nitish Kumar on multiple times has said that we are a very small party which is concentrated only in Bihar, and we are not in the reckoning, and I even don't think of becoming the Prime Minister or the leader of any as such alliance. So where this question comes up again, this is again,
history,
this is again a very creative speculation. Well, if it is a case of a Devegowda and Indra Kumar Gujral, that the time will tell, right? But right now, as far as JDU is concerned, we are not in the race of being a Prime Minister. We are not in the race of being any front leader or any for that matter. Nitish Kumar is happy serving Bihar and is doing his job.
Is he uncomfortable with Lalu Yadav? Is he uncomfortable with Lalu Yadav? And given the recent developments that have emerged, there have been recent developments with the arrest of the chartered accountant of Misa Bharti, Lalu Yadav's daughter. There has been also summons that have been sent to Misa Bharti and her husband. Is this making Bihar Chief Minister uncomfortable?
See, let me make one thing very clear. Nothing makes Bihar Chief Minister uncomfortable as far as it is not concerning him and his party. Now his party has gone into a grand alliance with Congress and RJD, not with any individual. And the government is being run on the common minimum program drawn by the three parties together. So this government is not for individual, it's for the three parties and the three parties common minimum program, according to which the government is functioning. Now what is happening to individual is none of our concern. I am not answerable for RJD, I am not answerable for Misa Bharti or for that matter anyone.
That is also a message again that you are not defending your alliance partner. Ajay Alok, thanks so much for your time here. Clearly Nitish Kumar is someone who is known to be marching to his own tunes, and he's continuing to do so by not attending this lunch meet called by Sonia Gandhi and instead going for that meeting that has been called by the Prime Minister tomorrow. Is there some kind of messaging? Of course there is, because politics is clearly about messaging, and Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar is doing so in the run-up to 2019. Shifting focus now to this story which impacts lives of lakhs of students and their parents. For 11 lakh CBSE Class 12 students and their parents waiting for their results and staring at an uncertain future, their wait will finally come to an end. The uncertainty may end, but it raises some key questions about the manner in which the CBSE has made a mess of a good policy. Sources now telling CNN News 18 that the results will be declared in the next 48 hours. 6 states have already declared their results, which means that CBSE students could suffer in the undergraduate admissions. The online registration for the Delhi University started on 22nd May. The bone of contention this year is the moderation marking system. Earlier this month, the Delhi High Court had ordered allowing continuation of moderation policy on extra marks, which was scrapped last month. The CBSE now says it has no plans to appeal against the Delhi High Court order on continuation of moderation or grace marks policy. And let's take that discussion forward now. Kamya Yadav is a student of class 12 of Vasant Valley School here in New Delhi. Indu Yadav, her mother, and she is also the vice principal of Lotus Valley International School. M. Srinivasan is the CBSE Schools Association head of Karnataka, and Shruti Arora is the president of Confederation of Education Excellence. Kamya, I'm coming to you since it impacts 11 lakh students like you. Are you happy that the wait will finally end, or do you think that there will be more uncertainty because you really do not know how universities will be reacting to this with the spike in marks actually going?
I am very, very glad that finally the wait is going to end, because last year it was announced on the 21st of May and it's already been quite some time. And I'm very glad that finally, if they're going to be announced tomorrow, that I will know what is going to happen to all the students of class 11, of class 12. But obviously, there is a lot of uncertainty as to how the due admissions will be impacted, because certainly the spike in marks also means very high cutoffs for all of the students who are going to be applying to Delhi University.
Okay, let me get M. Srinivasan now. Sir, do you think that in your effort to give a level playing field, haven't you landed yourself in a neat-like mess?
I think as far as the class 12 exam is concerned or 10th exam is concerned, there is no mess.
It clearly looks like, sir, please go ahead. One more question, let me add to that, that it looks like that the CBSE did not think through this process. Shouldn't you have informed
CBSE
students?
did think through the process.
Sir, one more question.
No,
Shouldn't you have
actually,
informed students before the exams that there won't be any spiking?
Actually, it is expected that they should be informed, but even if they are not informed, they will get marks for what they write.
Right, but shouldn't they have been informed before the exams?
See, I feel informing before exam or after exam doesn't make much of a difference, but since it's children, we can afford to give them one more year.
So, you know, that is the irony, because these are the students of class 12th who are sitting on the cusp of a major move in their career. Ma'am, don't you think that it's perhaps easy for the CBSE to come up with an excuse that they can give one more year to them? As a parent and also someone who is associated with a school, do you think that this raises more questions than answers in the manner in which the CBSE has functioned?
Well, to tell you very honestly, my daughter, she's got admission into one of the very prestigious colleges in the US. Despite that, I'm feeling anxious about her result. So I can understand, you know, what parents would be going through, you know, thinking about whether there's going to be moderation or no moderation. So probably if this was decided earlier, this would have really eased out a lot of pressure on students and parents.
It would have eased out a lot of pressure. That's what our mother is saying, Mr. Srinivasan. Let me get Shruti Arora on this note. Shruti Arora, how do you see this impact, say, cutoffs of various universities? Because the Delhi University has already announced its registration dates.
See, it will definitely impact, because as of now, the students have been experiencing the same policy which is running for last many years. So they were being clear that the percentage cutout would be, you know, slightly better. But at this last junction, if the students are getting, you know, the variation in the cutouts and, you know, the marks moderation doesn't happen, then it will benefit the other state students. See, the other state student results are already being announced from many of these states. So those students would definitely get an edge over a Delhi student or the other, you know, boards which are just dangling around with the result.
Right. So is it that it's a royal mess in many ways? M. Srinivasan, I'm going to come to you again, because you are someone who is the head of CBSE Schools Association in Karnataka, and you have much to explain today. Yeah. Because how did the CBSE actually expect that 31 odd state boards will follow a uniform marking pattern and do it in a matter in just a gap of few months?
That's entirely a different problem which needs a different solution. This moderation is a different activity altogether.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
So we have to look at a solution which is feasible and helpful to all. Moderation is not the only solution, that may not be the really correct solution.
So what is wrong with the moderation? Didn't the CBSE think through when it actually thought about moderation?
See, as a practice, I think children should be given enough notice to change that. But this practice needs to be changed, because some children get more marks and many children don't get any marks added to them. So that way, only a few get an advantage.
Only few students get that advantage. You know, do you think that it's the spiking of marks that's happening in the garb of moderation? And that is what has not given level playing field to students in the past.
In fact, you know, I remember our school days when we were growing up, you know, when we appeared for class 12th exams. And those days, you know, hardly anybody used to get in 70s also, you know, so somebody who would get 75% and above, you know, would be like a star. So today when I look at the results, you know, it's like many students, a lot of students are getting marks around 90, between 90 and 95. But the question is that really making a difference? So today college admissions are equally difficult for those children who are getting, let's say, about 94%. right? So for my own son, when he did his class 12th, he scored a 94%. And for him to get into one of the best colleges of DU was as difficult as it would have been, let's say many years back, a student who would have got about 65% or 70%. So, you know, somebody who's getting a 94 would be at par with somebody who's getting, let's say, about somebody who had got, you know, 65 or 70%.
Kamya, when you look at your own self, I mean, you took the exams recently and you would also be in touch with your seniors. Are you really fearing that moderation will bring down that percentage that you would have hoped for? And your seniors, of course, would have got 97, 98, those crazy marks that you can think of.
Yeah, so definitely it puts a lot of pressure on me as well. And I'm glad that CBSE has finally decided not to challenge the High Court verdict and they're going to go ahead with the mark moderation policy. Because at this juncture, if suddenly my marks would have dropped, it would have not just brought down my morale, but also would have affected admissions into, you know, the top colleges of our country.
Shruti Arora, is there a need to moderate this?
See, I would go with an idea that both of the system, you know, which were worked out earlier, the system which Ms. Yadav is telling that, you know, in our days we used to get marks which was highest was like 70, 75% or 80%. At that time also the system was foolproof and, you know, things were much clearer. The whole idea of this marks moderation was to support the student, wherein, you know, the examination pattern was little different. And had it been any question which was pretty difficult, the student used to get that grace marks, you know, so that the percentage becomes really sustainable. But now the system has been so, you know, changed that moderation has become a part of, you know, the board running systems. It has more of become a competition among the boards.
Is it more like
So
mark
boards are
moderation policy is unfair?
I would say yes, it was not required at now, because now you see what benefit have we reaped in after the marks moderation. See, none of the colleges or the admissions has been benefited out of it. These students are still juggling with an idea that they have to score very well. Yes, the slab earlier was 70 or 80%, now it has gone up to 95 and 100%. So
Yes.
it has not given any value in the education system. It has not given any value to the student individually, but definitely has created a racism among each other.
Yeah, M. Srinivasan, you know, the criticism is this, that this marks moderation has in fact put students from other boards at a disadvantage.
See, when somebody is at a disadvantage, somebody is at advantage. That's the natural consequence. So we can't be 100% sure what is correct and what is not correct. But when you are talking moderation, a child getting more than 95 doesn't get any marks added. 95 is the cutoff. After that, nothing is added. He would need 1 or 2 marks more to get a seat. So how are we helping them?
You know, sir, but this flip-flop that is happening is in fact impacting lives of lakhs of students. That's also a reality. The question is, of course, this, that has the time come for the HRD ministry to take a harder look at its school leaving examination policies, you know, because there are a number of questions that are being asked. Thank you so much for joining us, Kamya Yadav, Indu Yadav. I wish you all the best, Kamya, for your results. M. Srinivasan there joining us from Karnataka, and Shruti Arora, who is the President of Confederation of Education Excellence. Thanks so much for joining us. So, of course, the wait of 11 lakh students are ending, but of course they are sitting on this cusp where they would be heading to their respective colleges and universities for undergraduate courses. And how will it impact their admission? That is another area that we will be looking at very closely. We're slipping into a short break. Coming up, with a controversy simmering over Major Gogoi, Shreya Dhondial has gone to the Epicentre Srinagar to speak to his commander. That exclusive interview coming up in just a few minutes. Stay with us. Welcome back. Getting you an exclusive interview now. He's the man who had both Major Gogoi and Lieutenant Umar Fayaz under his command. Lieutenant General J.S. Sandhu, who is the GOC of 15 Corps, has spoken for the first time since Lieutenant Fayaz's killing and since the controversy erupting over Major Gogoi's Human Shield Act. He's in conversation with Shreya Dhondial. Listen in.
Lieutenant General J.S. Sadhu, thank you very much for speaking to us. Now, there have been two officers under your command who have made headlines in the recent past, both for different reasons, Lieutenant Umair Fayaz and Major Lethal Gogoi. I want to speak to you about both of them, but first let's start with Major Gogoi. It's very obvious by the sequence of events that the army is completely backing Major Gogoi despite the intense criticism that we are seeing in the Kashmir rally. Is it because the army intrinsically will always back its own, or do you think his actions were warranted given the situation, sir?
My sense is that his actions were warranted under the circumstances. It is very easy for us to find fault, but if you put yourself in his shoes and you see what were the circumstances that he was facing, it was a very extremely difficult situation. The options in front of him were not very easy. Either he had to open fire onto the stone pelters, it would have resulted in more volatility, more violence and loss of life. And the other option was that he had to try and protect and bring those boys of ITBP and the JK police and the polling staff who were stuck inside the polling booth. So it was a very difficult situation for him, how to reach that polling booth and get the people out. And in the circumstances, possibly the choice that he made was the right one.
Sir, there's one part of the retired Fauji community, the generals we see on television. Some of them have said that this is one image that will haunt the Indian Army for a long time to come, because this was a gross violation of human rights. Do you agree with that, sir?
The Indian Army is a very strong, vibrant and very great institution. And the Indian Army is defined by many images, or many images constitute the Indian Army, including soldiers climbing an ice wall in Siachen, soldiers fighting and firing onto bunkers of the Pakistanis across the LC, or pulling out some persons trapped under a building in an earthquake, or during flood relief operations rescuing families, the children, or even picking out a child out from a borewell. So these are several images which constitute the Indian Army. And as far as this particular image is concerned, we have to understand that there are alternate solutions to every situation. So it is a representation of an alternate solution. So I don't think it is something for me to be worried about. The army is too vast and too strong an organization to get, you see, negated by an action of this nature.
So what about the fact that many people have criticized it, saying this was a gross violation of human rights of that one man?
You see, it's something like this, is that these stone pelters were fully aware that they are doing some things which are against the law. There was CRPC section 144 which had been imposed, but yet there are actions which are done. Now there are certain things which are done as per rules of engagement, abiding by rules of engagement, but there are certain times when there is what we call the grey zone, and sometimes you have to take a call that okay, there is need to be some flexibility in operations, and that flexibility in operations is what this Major Gogoi has utilized at that point of time. So for us to always put everything in a black and white syndrome is not right. I don't want to always say that okay, it's very easy for me to become a judge and say you are the accused and you are therefore at fault, but I need to see the circumstances. All evidence is pitted against the circumstances, and that's what we will see.
Sir, did the award for Major Gogoi, the Chief of Army Staff's commendation card, come too early, given that a court of inquiry is currently underway?
The court of inquiry is largely complete. The findings of the court of inquiry are known. And what I'd like to highlight is that the award is for sustained operations in the counter-insurgency operations in the valley. It's not only for the actions on 9th of April in Gutligam. So that is one of the reasons why the award has been given in due time.
Sir, there are many people who are saying the situation in the valley is back to what the 90s were. I want to know from you, what's a bigger worry for the Indian Army? Is it terror imports from Pakistan? Is it homegrown militancy? or is it the stone pelters?
See, all of them are challenges of varying degree. They are all what I would call as the anti-Indian forces or anti-national forces. These anti-national forces include the terrorists, which is the Pakistani terrorists as also the local terrorists. Then we have the stone pelters, and then you have the support base behind these terrorists and the stone pelters. And that support base includes the OGWs, what we call the overground workers. It also includes the separatists. It includes other organizations. And of course, that support base is backed by Pakistan, or the Pakistanis are pushing the support base, as also the terrorists. So we are contesting all these anti-Indian forces. The bigger challenge in between them, as I sense, is the support base. We need to break that network, that support structure, because when that is diluted and weakened, the terrorists and the stone pelters will also weaken substantially.
So is it your sense that there has been increased radicalization in the valley post Burhan Wani's death, or are the protests, student protests, etc. that we are seeing, is it because of a political vacuum, because there's a large degree of frustration?
The radicalization in the valley is not something linked to Burhan Wani's demise last year. Radicalization has been taking place in the last few years, and largely it has been driven by Pakistan and has come from across the borders. Various mediums have been used for propagating radical thoughts, often through the internet or from other methods of transmitting such messages. And but for the amount of radicalization is also not very large. It is taking place. There are some number of people who are getting influenced by what we call radical Islam. So that has contributed to some of the growing violence on the streets in Kashmir.
So cordon and search operations are back in the valley after 15 years. What was the need? What was the necessity, sir? It was much hated in the 90s and it's come back.
Well, what we have executed in the last couple of weeks or so is not the cordon and search operations of the 90s. What we have done is a different operation. We have not called it cordon and search operation. We are calling it a clear and search operation, wherein we are largely going to areas where the terrorists had gained a greater freedom of movement, where their support base had increased substantially, and primarily to get them out of that area, to shake them off, to make them move out of their comfort zones, and also to start making the presence of the Indian Army stronger in those areas. So those were the reasons for this clear and sweep operations or clear and search operations. So I don't think it is the cordon and search operations of the 90s. Those were a totally different ballgame.
So after Lieutenant Umar Fayaz's brutal killing in Kulgam, and he was home on leave to attend his sister's wedding, there was a belief that this would be the turning point for Kashmir. Is that your belief as well, that this one incident could possibly change things here?
It may be too early to indicate it as a turning point, but I do realize that it's indeed a defining moment. It's an important event. Whether it will actually be a turning point, we are not very sure as of now. May possibly be. But the event had largely resulted in a lot of anger amongst the people. A lot of people indicated to us कि ये ठीक नहीं हुआ. And not only to us, they indicated it even amongst themselves, even amongst their own kith and kin. So these indicators came to us, and this is one very clear indicator that they realized that this was a wrong thing to have been done, because interestingly, no organization owned up. Hizbul Mujahideen, who were the first to own up an event, a terrorist initiated incident, did not own up, and they all became quiet. Within their networks, questions started getting asked, why was this done? So therefore, there was a sense of realizing that probably this was a wrong thing to have been done. And what sense we did get is many Kashmiris started questioning, is where are we taking a state to? So this has been a sense which has been prevailing in South Kashmir especially. A lot of people have started asking, क्या हम अपने मुल्क को इस रास्ते पे ले जाना चाहते हैं? So this is something we'll see.
Sir, thank you very much for sparing the time. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Getting you a CNN News 18 exclusive now. If you thought that your Aadhaar card is the ultimate proof of your Indianness, we will tell you how easy it is to subvert the system. In Bengaluru, 3 Pakistanis were arrested who entered India without valid travel documents, but incidentally had valid Aadhaar cards issued by the government of India. Across in Haryana, another Pakistani national was arrested from Bahadurgarh. He too had a valid Aadhaar card. Clearly, there is a long way to go to make Aadhaar foolproof. With that, we have come to the end of this edition of Epicentre. We'll be back again on Monday. Arunodaya Mukherjee is joining you next. Thanks so much for watching.